Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. This is your Manchester United versus Newcastle United Carabao Cup final preview. It's this Sunday. It's at Wembley Stadium. Manchester United are looking to end their trophy drought. Manchester United have not won a trophy for 6 years. Erik ten Hag has made it clear that he wants a trophy. This final will mean a lot to Newcastle as well. This is Newcastle's first Wembley final since 1999. Manchester United played Newcastle in the FA Cup final back in 1999. And Newcastle have not won a trophy since the 50s. Manchester United are coming into this game on the back of a 2-1 win against Barcelona in the Europa League round of 32 second leg. It was 4-3 on aggregate, so Man United are now in the last 16 of the Europa League. They'll be playing Real Betis. The goals against Barcelona at Old Trafford came from Fred. He equalised. And Anthony came off the bench and scored the winner for Manchester United. Ten Hag got his subs correct. Barcelona's goal came from Robert Lewandowski. He scored from a penalty. Bruno Fernandes was the one that conceded the penalty. After the game against Barca yesterday, Ten Hag said, "It's my biggest win at United." Now, I've got some bad news. Erik ten Hag has come out and said that Rashford is an injury doubt for the Carabao Cup final. You know, Rashford has been sensational this season. You know, he's got, 24 goals in all competitions. You know, Rashford got 2 goals in our last league game against Leicester, Old Trafford, and he scored in the first leg against Barcelona at the Nou Camp. We've got Martial, who's still injured. He's been hampered with injuries this season. Obviously, Eriksen's out until April or early May with an ankle injury. And Van der Beek's out for the rest of the season. He's a squad player, you know, doesn't play anywhere. Building up to this game against Newcastle in the Cup final, Ten Hag has mentioned that Newcastle are annoying to play. Since the Saudi Arabians taken over Newcastle, you know, Newcastle have become very good. And since the Saudi Arabians taken over, Newcastle have become one of the richest clubs in the world. Before the Saudi Arabians, of course, Newcastle had Mike Ashley. And he ruined Newcastle United. You know, Mike Ashley was Newcastle's owner for a, good 13 years. And he received a lot of criticism from Newcastle fans. I've got to give credit to Eddie Howe. He's done a really good job as the Newcastle manager. Eddie Howe has been the Newcastle manager for over a year. he got appointed in as the Newcastle manager in November 2021. When he got officially appointed in as the Newcastle manager, he signed a 2.5-year deal. So he was under contract with Newcastle until 2024. But last year, Eddie Howe signed a long-term contract at Newcastle. Before Newcastle, Eddie Howe managed Bournemouth. He was at Bournemouth for several years and did well with them. He got them up to the Premier League, don't forget, a while ago. And he had a spell at Burnley, did Eddie Howe. Before Eddie Howe, Newcastle had Steve Bruce. They sacked him. Weren't good enough. Before then, they had Rafa Benitez. To be honest with you, I thought Rafa Benitez was good at Newcastle. But obviously, Rafa Benitez resigned because he wasn't getting backed by the Newcastle board. The players Newcastle have got. They've got Elliot Anderson, Anthony Gordon. He's done well since he went to Newcastle. Newcastle got him from Everton. Jacob Murphy, Alexander Isaac. Newcastle signed him from Real Sociedad. Alan Saint-Maximin. He's probably the best player Newcastle have got. Miguel Almiron, what a season he's enjoyed for Newcastle. Callum Wilson, Newcastle got him from Bournemouth. Ryan Fraser, they also got him from Bournemouth. Matt Ritchie. Joe Linton. Joe Linton is out with injury at the moment. Joseph Willock is a young player. He's injured. Bruno Guimaraes. He's done really well at Newcastle. Sean Longstaff, good midfielder. They got Matty Longstaff, who was brothers with Sean Longstaff. At one point, he had a loan spell with Aberdeen. They got Javier Manquillo, Jamal Lascelles, Jamal Lewis. Newcastle signed Jamal Lewis from Norwich. Paul Dummett. Kieran Trippier. Newcastle signed him from Atletico Madrid. Sven Botman. He's a defender. Matt Targett, he's injured at the moment. Newcastle got him from Aston Villa. Nick Pope, he is suspended for this game for what he did in Newcastle's game against Liverpool. So with obviously Nick Pope being suspended, I presume Karius will go in goal on Sunday. Obviously, they've got Martin Dubravka of Newcastle. Man United did have him on loan, but obviously, you know, his loan at Man United got terminated. So yeah, they are a lot of the players that Newcastle have got. Don't forget, Newcastle loaned Chris Wood out to Nottingham Forest. They let John Joe Shelvey go. They did have Carl Darlow, but obviously Newcastle loaned him out. Newcastle got to the final of the Carabao Cup by obviously beating Southampton in the semi-final. Man United beat Forest in the semi-final. Manchester United drew with Newcastle at Old Trafford earlier on in the season, 0-0. Newcastle are doing well in the league this season. They're 5th in the league. It'd be a very good achievement for Newcastle to get a top 4 finish. If they were to get Champions League qualification for next season, you know, they'd get a lot of money for that, and then they'd be able to invest more. Wouldn't they? Newcastle did lose their last league game against Liverpool 2-0. But this will be a tough game. You know, it's a final. Anything can happen. And after we beat Nottingham Forest, you know, Ten Hag did say winning against Newcastle will be tough. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless.